Okay, so hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, welcome back to Plan 258. Okay, as you see in the screen, these are the agenda for today. Okay, so first, I would like to remind about student evaluation of teaching, SET. Okay, you can go to CRS, and this is the date. Yeah, so until May 22. Okay. And today you're supposed to have a project presentation, right? So it's a so do you want to do it in the beginning or at the end? Your choice. So if you are ready, so you can present now. But if a few of your classmates did not come, so we can do it at the end. Uh, Okay. Okay. So let's do it in the end or now. Any anyone want to present now?
Uh, Good evening,
Question?
sir. Our group may want to present before the lecture.
Before that, okay, go. Wait. So I will give you the.
Okay.
I think you are already co-host. I will just remove my own sharing. Okay, someone to present it later. That's okay. Go ahead. Yes.
All right.
Good evening. We are the Triple A team, Archibald, Angelo, and Arvin. So for the first part of our presentation, let me give the floor to my group mate, Sir Jello.
Yes. Thank you, Servin. Good evening, Doc Cardi. Good evening, classmates. Our study uh, has had good progress since our last report. More specifically, brought about by the contributions of my group mates, with Sir Archie gathering data, more specifically a pedestrian count, among others, and Sir Vin plugging these data into the models that we've created. So for the first part, the next slide, please. Okay, so our report will focus on the base and aspired scenarios, the goal, criteria, and alternatives, the pedestrian flow data and our observations, and the analytic hierarchy process. So moving first with the base scenario. Next slide, please. Okay. So for the base scenario, we um, currently, government is the most, we have determined that the government is the most powerful in the structural dynamics of these agents. This is due to the government having significant feedback loops with all of these agents, the policies, the establishments, pedestrians, facilities, and the media. The media and policy are influencing agents with no feedback mechanism except that coming from the government. So we can see here in our Premier Network and the Cardinal Network that the government is indeed the most powerful. However, for our aspired scenario, next slide, please. For our aspired scenario, sorry. So for our aspired scenario, the pedestrians should be the most powerful, and this can be done by the introduction of links between non-central agents. This includes feedback loops between the pedestrians and the media, among others. So here, we have tweaked the model a bit so to introduce those dynamics. And as you can see in the Premier and the Cardinal Network, that the pedestrians are indeed the most powerful in this aspired scenario. Next slide, please. Okay, so for the goal, our goal, we have identified that our goal is to select the best alternative to improve pedestrian density and safety. So our focus is to provide pedestrians the much needed environment. And what are the criteria for this? The first one is the spacing and pedestrian density. This can be defined as the number of pedestrians per unit area. Next is the pedestrian safety. Our definition for pedestrian safety is the reduction in the number of crashes in the junction. And then we have the cost of intervention, which is the parametric cost per unit area for the alternatives we have introduced. And lastly is the conduciveness. This is a subjective ranking based on the perceived degree of comfort or convenience of our pedestrians. The alternatives are to widen the crosswalks, the provision of pedestrian crossing signals with timer, which surprisingly is absent from the junction, the relocation of crosswalks, and this will be elaborated later on in our presentation as Sir Archie will discuss the location of these crosswalks in the junction, the installation of refuge island, and visible pavement markings. Both the visible pavement markings and the provision of pedestrian crossing signals with timer are behavioral nudges. And these are ways of influencing the behavior and decision making of pedestrians. So, next slide, please. I will now turn over the floor to Sir Archie.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jello. For the pedestrian crosswalks, I did the the pedestrian count and observe various crossings at the intersections. So we identified the direction or route of the pedestrians. As you can see on the matrix or the table, these are the route of the pedestrians. For example, A to B. There's an existing two pedestrians with the markings A to B and C to D, vice versa. And in the observation also in real time, some people or pedestrians are crossing the main road or the highway, which indicated here. For example, B to D, D to B, vice versa, J to I to J, F to E to F, and H to G, G to H. Unfortunately, there's an existing pedestrian, flyover there, and they are not actually using the pedestrian because of the elevation. It's quite high. If you will climb upstairs the pedestrian, instead of going up to cross the other side of the sidewalk, they intend to. It is a risky option to cross the highway. Here in the highway, the 2 lanes, as you can see, 4 lanes, as you can see. Then we did the counting for peak time, 6 to 7, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is as you can see on the table, the highest count is on Fridays, with the 2,811 total count of pedestrian crossing people crossing this intersection. Next slide, please. For the observation, the count were collected in a relatively fair weather. Heavy vehicle traffic during the afternoon peak hours. Traffic signals for the traffic vehicles were only applicable, as I said, is applicable for the vehicular traffic. No signal for pedestrian crossings. No pedestrians were crossing the existing footbridge, as I said before. Despite a green signal for vehicles, some of the pedestrians continue to cross the roadway, continuously crossing, even though it's a green signal. And there are local traffic enforcers seen in the area assisting the traffic and pedestrian flow in the intersection. Next slide, please. Okay. For the pedestrian flow data, I think I will pass it to Sir Vince for the following calculation and interpretation, and with the analytical hierarchy process.
Okay. Thank you, Archie. Um, for the modeling of this pedestrian flow on the data, we use the speed density and flow rate uh, equation, in which flow rate is equal to speed times density. And then spacing is just the reciprocal of the density. So it is average depending on the pedestrian crossing width or effective width of the crossing, hence the per meter. For example, the flow rate person per minute per meter. So the hourly counts are converted into the per minute count. And then it is assessed based on the LOS criteria developed by the HCM, or the Highway Capacity Manual of FHWA USA. We convert it to from imperial units going to the metric units as what we are using in the Philippines. So at capacity, pedestrian crosswalks and sidewalks are at LOSC, which is taken as around 33 persons per minute per meter. So that's equivalent to this in feet. Then we subject the data. For the known data, it's just the real flow, which is the second to the third row. So the real flow data are plotted in this matrix, and then we compute the capacity matrix based on that assumption on the LOSC, or the middle level of service, and then define link lengths based on distances measured through Google Earth. So the longest route is between T to A. This one, that crossing between the main thoroughfare, which is 4 lanes in total. So we subject it to the IFN to compute the ideal flow network, in which we get a kappa of 1, and then scale it based on the largest scaling, which is between C and A as well. Then we get this IFN at which the highest pedestrian flow rate is between the crosswalk on A and B, hence the red one on the lower right picture. So that's crossing. It's interesting because A and B and C and D crossings are along the minor, orthogonal to the minor leg. It's not the main crossing, and it's not where the footbridge is located. So it's interesting that way. Then we subject the selection, this model data on the first factor that we considered on the AHP process. So that's for spacing and pedestrian density. So each alternatives are compared with the do nothing scenario, at which we get a 1.35 square meter per person in terms of density. So we have here, as defined earlier, the widening as A1, pedestrian timing signal as A2, A4 for refuge island, A5 for
Visible
improvement in
crosswalks.
Visible
pavement
placement.
markings, or pavement markings. And then for pedestrian safety, instead of the crash statistics per se, we redefined it as the percent in crash statistics, reduction in crash statistics. For now, these values here are assumed first, just for the sake of this presentation. We'll have to refine it later based on data. And then for the cost of intervention, we based it on this parametric cost. The first one, non-residential, the cost per square meter of non-residential construction based on the PSA data. And for infrastructure based on an engineering firm, it ranges from 26,000 pesos to 31,000 pesos per square meter. Then for the conduciveness, this is subjective rating, and then we'll show it later. So it's the same as what we did to the comparison matrix of the criteria. So each factors were pairwisely compared. So on the scale of 1 to 9, and then we obtained this consistency index of 6.46% and consistency ratio of 7.18%. Both are less than 10%. So we have established acceptable level of consistency on this objective rating. And then as the priority vector appear, spacing and safety are given more priority than cost and conduciveness. Cost is the least of our priorities for selecting which alternative is the best. Now, for the pairwise comparison per alternative, since factors 1, 2, and 3 are all objective kinds of factors or criteria, we expect that if we just use the ratio between the values presented earlier as their pairwise comparison values, so we get a priority vector that would have a consistency index and consistency ratio of 0. So that's
Really?
consistent because we just use the ratio as also discussed in our lectures. So that's the same for factor 3. For factor 4, this one is the subjective one. So we just strive to be less than 10 here. So we have to refine to get a better value. But right now, consistency index and consistency ratio are at 9.17 and 8.18 respectively. So overall, the consistency ratio is at 3.89%. So in this summary, so we get the weighted sum for each alternative as 2.98, 22.98, 21.58, 19.16, 26.10, and 10.18%.
What is the alternative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Sir?
So sorry, I did not. I missed the alternative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is that?
Sir, it's also located down. Alternative 1 is to widen the crosswalks. Alternative 2 is to provide crossing signals with timer. So not very hard infra, but just put an equipment to time the pedestrian movement.
I see.
And then alternative 3 is the relocation of these crosswalks, maybe further from the junction of the intersection box junction. And then alternative 4 is to install refuge islands. And alternative 5 is to make pavement markings that are visible. So based on this AHP, our first trial for the AHP, alternative 4 gets the most priority. But close second and third would still be alternative 1 and 2. It can we haven't done the sensitivity analysis yet, so we don't know when alternative 1 and alternative 2 or which kinds of priority in terms of the factors can swing in favor of each alternative.
Okay.
So that's our ways forward, sir, to refine the criteria, each factor of as per our operational definition, and then conduct sensitivity analysis as I mentioned, and then do the 3 short form contents or the reels.
Yes. Is there any feedback from other groups to this group? Can you come back to your data earlier? I think there is some mistake probably. Yeah.
This one, sir?
Before. This one. This is something is incorrect. Why? I've been working in pedestrian for like 25 years. walking speed, 0.00 meter per second.
Yes, sir. Something is wrong with our calculation or arithmetic.
That's not correct.
Yes, sir.
So average walking speed for older people is 0.8 meter per second.
Okay, 0.8 meter per second.
0.8 meter per second. So
0.8 meters per second. Okay.
0.8. And if you are
Zero.
walking very fast, should be 1.2 or 1.3.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, so this one is definitely not correct. 0.00. So definitely not correct. So I don't know where is the problem. I guess the area that you use is this
Too large. Too large, sir.
too
Maybe.
large. Maybe this is you put the whole intersection. I don't know. Yeah.
So maybe we can
Should
reduce
be
the
pedestrian
effective.
trap only. Should be pedestrian trap only. Not
Okay, sir. So we need a certain reduction on the effective width of the walkway.
Probably, I don't know. So you check first. But the from the average speed, clearly incorrect.
Yes,
And
sir.
next,
But if we use IFN, sir, the average speed
yes,
or
about
walking speeds
0.2
are
going up.
between 0.2 to 0.4.
Yeah, still very low.
So we need to get close to 0.8.
0.8 is all people walking.
Yes, sir. That's the average.
Yeah,
In literature,
average. Yeah, in the
they're
literature,
saying
yes.
1.2 to 1.4. But as you said, sir, it's quite
So
fast already.
1.5 is very fast. Maybe people in Japan do that. But usually on average 1.2.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So
noted, sir.
yes. And can we come back again? Previous slide. And yeah, of course, the spacing is just the other way around of the density. So this is also somewhat strange number. So what I want to point out here is that total down here, right? Is this correct? This is your data, so it should be correct, right?
Yes, sir. That is the count, sir. We
This
did.
is the count. So
Yes, sir.
you have very high in 1 hour. You
In an
have
hour, sir. Yeah.
in an hour you have almost 3,000 pedestrian in one area alone.
In the intersection, sir.
In one intersection alone, you have 3,000 people.
3,000 or 2,000.
Yeah, this is 2,800. You see.
That's the Friday, sir. The Friday one, sir. Because people, the observation there at, sir, people from the Metro Manila is going back in the provinces.
Okay.
There's a what you call this, a bus station near to that intersection.
Okay.
So that's why the count there is quite high at that time, on that day, Friday night.
Just as comparison, okay.
Okay, sir.
One city in the US, for example, in Wisconsin, okay, one city is only 10,000 people. One city, the population. This one is like 1/4 of the city is going to one intersection. So if this is correct, it's fine. Maybe very high density in your place, that's okay. But I'm just wondering, is this computation correct or not? Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
If this is correct, so then you need to propose more significant, because this is really very big. In 1 hour, you have 3,000. That's very big. Right? So
yeah, that's the count of actually.
yeah. So then your government is supposed to do a lot rather than just widening and so on. So probably underground and so on. That's probably also one of the alternatives.
So we can consider, sir, alternatives such as underpasses.
Yes.
They're averse to the overpass thing.
Correct. Yes.
It's not utilized.
You know, underpass, you can put museum, you can put market, you can put a lot of things underground.
We have the same kind of underpass in Manila, sir. The Nagusnilad.
Ah,
And we can take inspiration on that one.
right. Okay. So, okay, that's my only comments. The others, I think, is excellent. So,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
yeah, thank
We
you.
just refine. Sir, in terms of the reels, can we do it in a way na we divide it for power dynamic and then
Yeah.
the
So you can separate for each
okay.
video. Okay, that's
As long
okay.
as 5 minutes in total, sir.
Right. So in the
Yeah.
last presentation, you don't need to do all of this. Okay, you just presented 3 videos, finish.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Just
sir.
1 minute,
Understood.
1 minute, 1 minute, right? That should be
Thank you, sir.
simple.
Thank
Yes.
you. All right,
Thank
sir.
you.
Got it.
Thank you. Okay. What is the other groups? Okay, preference. Okay.
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. As a recap, my research is about assessing the impact of tricycle regulation and road widening on the degree of saturation. And I have discussed last progress report number 2
Yeah.
that I have 5 criterion and 3 alternatives.
Mhm.
So, okay. So the discussion for today is about my actual traffic data. And I conducted a data gathering using the manual traffic count method to determine the current degree of saturation of the road, since the latest degree of saturation information from DPWH is way back 2013.
Mm.
Okay, so the data gathering I divided into two. The first, the top table is during morning time, and the bottom table is during evening. And this is the
Wait,
breakdown
wait.
of the.
Can I interrupt a little bit? You have
Sure,
eight
sir.
location, but you're only one person. How did you to manage to
Sir, I asked my brother and sister to also help me.
8 location?
Yes, sir. And we also like take a video like
Okay.
this where we can count the number of vehicles passing a specific carriageway. I think I cannot play my. Never mind.
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So this is the breakdown, sir, of the traffic count. So in the morning from 7 to 8 a.m., motorcycles and tricycles dominate the road with 38 and 35% respectively. And during evening, motorcycles, private cars, and tricycle are using the roads.
Wow.
So from traffic count so from hourly traffic count, I converted the data into
Oh.
average data traffic or ADT using the factor of 0.15.
Mm.
And I also have here two tables. One table for the ADT in the morning, and the second table will be for the evening. So from hourly count, traffic count, HTC, I converted into ADT using a factor for rural area of 0.15. So from ADT, I converted it into PCU, sir.
Mm.
So I have here the PCU factor. Let me just use the Excel. I think easier to understand here. So from ADT, I converted the ADT into PCU. So as
Issue.
you can see here, there is a
Oh.
corresponding PCU factor for different types of vehicles. For car, we have the PCU value for car 1. For PUJ, we have 1.5 and so on.
How many
And
lanes? How many lanes is this?
3 lanes, sir.
Not enough.
And okay, as you can see here, I already converted the ADT into PCU in order for me to calculate the degree of saturation. And I also get the value of the capacity, which is 1,800, based from the value from the PWH. So the formula for the degree of saturation is normally volume. I use the unit PCU
Yeah.
divided by the capacity. My unit is also in PCU, and it will be further divided by the number of lanes.
Yeah.
So since I already have the volume for the location A, here, location 1, the total is 8,083. So 8,083 divided by the capacity, 1,800 divided by the number of lanes. So I get a 1.5 DOS. So this is the current situation in the area, sir. And I also have here the remarks for the following DOS. So all above 1 is considered to be operating beyond its capacity.
Yeah.
So this is the current condition in the Binalonan in Pangasinan. So, and this is in the morning. For the evening, it's a better situation because all the 4 locations are below 1 from level B. The LOS is from level B to level D.
Mm.
And this current or 2025 data I converted into 2030, year 2030 using the traffic growth rate of DPWH and the exponential traffic formula. So from 2025, we jump now to year 2030. And let's say, for example, the LGU like do nothing. We call it a do nothing scenario. From from 2025, the value, as you can see here, the value in the morning is about 8,000 PCU. And if we do a do nothing scenario, the count will now increase to about 10,000 PCU.
Unit.
And for the calculation of DOS, volume divided by the capacity, and the number of lanes will remain the same as 3, the DOS will now increase to 1.86. So as you can notice, from 1 to 4, all above 1. So meaning all the roads or all the 4 carriageway are operating beyond its capacity. And let's say, for example, the LGU implemented a road widening program. So from 3 to 4 lanes, so the situation for the traffic or the congestion will a bit become okay, but still some of the areas is above 1. And let's say, for example, they will like implement a 6 lanes instead of 4, the DOS will reduce significantly. But for now, I will just assume that it will be like 3 to 4 lanes only. And for this is my first alternative actually is to do a road widening. And for my second alternative is the total ban of tricycles. As you can see here, I put all the values 0 because I eliminate the tricycle in the data. So the DOS will now become 1.29 instead of the 1.86. And let's say, for example, we also ban the motorcycles.
Why don't you ban the car?
Car also, the DOS will be like less than 0.5, sir. And for the comparison, this is for the do nothing scenario. So if the LGU don't want to implement any regulation to improve the traffic condition, the 1.5 DOS will increase to 1.86
Uh,
from year 2025 to 2030 in the morning. And in the evening, from 0.77 to 0.97. And if they implemented a total ban of tricycles, the DOS will improve from 1.86 to 1.29 in the morning and 0.97 to 0.78 in the
yeah.
evening. And I can also like combine two alternative, like here, the total ban of tricycles. Let's say, for example, we will ban not only tricycles, but also the motorcycle. and further increase the number of lanes instead of 4 become 5, and we can see the differences now in the DOS.
I understand this
Yeah.
approach. Okay, so this is the traditional approach of many transport engineer. Okay, so either you ban something or you increase the road widenings, but you never want to go out of your own point of view, which is only one location. Okay, so if you try to analyze network rather than just one location, then you probably will have a much better solution.
Actually, sir, I considered 4 locations.
And in the network, not just the
Oh,
location.
the network, sir. Okay.
Yes. So this one is just one intersection that's in only one location. So
I
if you
understand, sir.
consider the whole network, okay, a little bit bigger so that they can have alternative route, then you don't need to have this kind of problems. That's my point. So solution of transportation only in that location, you are correct. Okay? But that will lead to only road widening and ban of this and ban of that. So I don't think it will become sustainable because eventually, okay, when the population increase, economic increase, everything become road.
I understand, sir.
Um,
But for the purpose of the research, sir, I only considered actually the one network.
right. It's just okay. So I appreciate you work very hard for this one. So is there any continuation of this analysis?
Okay, sir. I will end my report here, sir.
Okay. Your previous reporting was much better. If you can
Yes,
combine.
sir. Actually, my previous report is about the AHP and the pairwise comparison,
Right.
which I already
Okay.
put in
So
my draft research paper, sir, in my manuscript.
how are
So
you
now,
coming with this one?
yes, sir. So now I'm working in the data part.
I see. Is there any strategic decision or
My proposal, sir, is about a combination of policy
I see.
because road widening is not the most effective
Yes,
solution in combating the traffic congestion.
exactly.
So I'm still thinking the most optimized solution actually.
Okay.
But based on my manuscript, I think I propose here, yes, sir, a total tricycle ban plus a road widening, sir, to be more effective.
Example, how about car occupancy there? Cars occupancy. So how many people in one car?
In the province, sir, depends with the types of for the cars, sir, maybe maximum 3 packs.
Okay, so my point is, how about improving public transportation rather than banning all of this, Because if you look at the percentage of this vehicles type, okay, and our goal is actually to move the people rather than moving the vehicles, right? But your policy seems like against certain type of vehicles rather than actually moving the people. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So if we can see the actual movement of the people, then we can design it better probably.
Let me consider that, sir.
Right. So the policy should be moving the people, not moving the vehicles, right? But your alternative scenario are banning certain type of vehicles, and I don't see the reason why you are banning certain type of vehicles.
Okay, sir. I will reconsider it.
Especially you are putting in terms of percentage, that's correct. This is the highest.
Mhm.
But why you are banning the percentage, which is higher, the highest? And if you put it in, this one is in PCU or in the number?
In number, sir.
Okay,
Number of
how about in
vehicles.
PCU? What is the percentage in PCU?
ECU, let me calculate, sir.
Yeah, that one and the end. If you sum that, yeah, just put the sum and then put percentage. Okay. Divide by, no, I think you need to put dollars. Yeah. So number one is tricycle, second is motorcycle, third is car.
Yes, sir. The first will be tricycle, followed by motorcycle and private cars.
So, question, if you ban the tricycle, how people are moving?
Okay, sir. That's a good question. So, in my recommendation, sir, the LGU should propose alternative methods of transporting people like
Right. Right. So
buses, like that, sir.
exactly. So then this one will increase, right?
Yes, sir, correct.
Okay. So
We will utilize the public utility bus, PUB.
right. So in that case, if you increase this one, so how much is actually the balancing? I mean, you just don't ban certain things and then do not give any alternative, and how people will move.
I understand, sir. Anyway, sir, I will prepare the comparison.
Right.
If, let's say, for example, the people that are using tricycle
Hmm.
will use a PUB, so I will like determine the alternative transport
Yeah.
vehicles for those displaced by banning the tricycle.
Right. And this tricycle is coming and going where?
Actually, sir, from location 1 to 8, they are using this 8 carriageway.
Okay, so if you ban
So
this, they are allowed only within the small road, right?
yes, sir, they are allowed to use alternative smaller roads
Okay,
except for this intersection.
okay. So that means you need to widen the scope of the network. Yeah, anyway, thank you for the
Okay, sir.
yes.
Let me reconsider, sir,
Right.
to
Thank you.
like enlarge the study area or the traffic area
Yes.
instead of just a one network. Maybe I also need to consider the other routes
Mm,
or smaller roads to be
right.
as alternative for tricycles.
Right. Kenneth De La Rosa, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. I would like to ask Sir Res if the presented traffic count is the 24-hour count or just the peak hour volume count. sir?
Actually, this is one of my delimitation. I we only counted for 1 hour, and from 1 hour, I converted it into ADT or the average daily traffic using a particular factor.
Okay, sir. Maybe we can also recommend that instead of total ban of tricycles, just limit their access during peak hours. Then,
Actually, that's one of my alternative also, but I need to like this one ban during peak hours.
Hmm.
yes, sir,
Yes.
so that they can still have access at that certain intersection, even at window hours.
Okay, sir. Let me consider it
Hmm.
because actually I'm biased in choosing the total ban of tricycles.
Yes, sir. And we have this policy that no tricycles within national roads, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah,
Yeah,
I have the RRL here.
I understand that part. So yeah. Yeah, but the study itself is interesting. So thank you, Prefness. It's so who's next? Lay? Lay?
Yes, I will be sharing our screen. So
Hmm.
next, Sir JK, if you're ready, you can start.
Yes.
Hi, everyone, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's begin. So again, we're the Transit Lab with my mates, Miss Jimenez and Mr. Ganado. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just to recap, our study will look into the whale shark or putanding watching industry in the Philippines, with
Right.
a particular focus on the coastal towns of Donsol, Sorsogon, and Oslob Cebu. These sites are known for ecotourism, but they also raise important questions about transportation access, local infrastructure, and sustainability. What we'll be presenting today will be our initial findings and methodology, which will feed into the short video reels that we'll be working on for the final outcome. Okay.
So for our agenda overview, for reel one, we're going to present the problem statement for the whale shark point of view, the objective, and the methodology. For reel two, we'll present the problem statement for the tourist point of view, the objective and its methodology. And for the last reel, we'll be presenting the problem statement for the locals point of view and its objectives and methodology. Sir, Sir Gab, your turn.
Uh, yep. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Professor Cardi. Can we go back to the last slide, please? I just want to add something from what they said. So, these three reels, we have laid out these topics in this order, since I think it strings perfectly the thought process on how we analyze these subjects. So, reel one specifically is for analyzing the power dynamics or the status quo of these different scenarios. And then, as a response or to dig deeper into the dynamics, we wanted to explore um, what the other parties have to lose or to gain, um, if any changes to the status quo were to happen. So the second and third reels are um, gonna discuss that. So for the first reel, next slide, please. This is what we discussed from the previous progress report, which analyzes the power dynamics of the status quo or the base scenario for the three different cases, which is the first scenario, the typical season, whale shark watching season in Lonsol Sorsogon. The scenario B of peak season in the same area, and scenario C, which is a typical season in Oslo City. So the problem statement for this first wheel is, since in systematized tourism-related activities that involves wild animal, usually their well-being is considered secondary to human interests, such as tourism and revenue generation. So the main question that this first wheel wants to answer is, how much or how little power do whale sharks have in these systems? So yeah, we want to understand the power dynamics between all these actors in those three different tourism. So methodology, this will be IFM for power dynamics. The actors were already discussed from the previous progress report, and the results of this and the data I've already discussed from the previous progress report. So just to recap, we found that wildlife that the in both Donsol seasons, humans emerge as more powerful than the whale sharks. But in scenario C, which is the scenario in Oslo, whale sharks emerge as the most powerful. But kind of turning the power dynamics around, wildlife creatures gaining agency and power in a tourism system is usually or actually detrimental to their well-being, since it illustrates their dependence on human activity that can be found on these tourism systems. So for the second reel, I think it's Lei.
Thank you, Gav. For the second reel, so as mentioned a while ago, it's the tourist's point of view. So we're gonna use multi-criteria decision making. So in the second reel, we're planning. So most of the tourists, so they have the demand for whale shark interactions. So what we are planning to do is we plan to introduce an ethical tourism to the tourists, so that the demand does not overwhelm the current available resources or the current available seasons, so that it will coincide with the seasons of whale shark interactions. So the problem statement is that tourists often plan a trip to swim with a whale shark or have whale shark interaction, but as I said a while ago, there are ethical concerns and seasonal restrictions. In cases where the activity isn't available, they lack structured alternatives. So there's no means or there's no alternative tourism that we can provide. So the objective of this is to provide the tourists criteria so that they can have an informed and ethical and fulfilling decision when planning their trips for the following scenario. So scenario A is involving the whale shark interactions, or scenario B when they're in the preferred destination but they don't have the option for whale shark interaction. So in the methodology, we will be comparing the options using multiple factors such as accessibility, so the travel time, transport options, the cost, which is the most important, the budget and the entrance fees, the environmental impact like wildlife conservation score, and the experience quality, its uniqueness, and the photo opportunities and the safety. So for the scenario A, some of the factors also that we will be using is the ethical tourism. Actually, for scenario A and B, we'll be using the same factors: ethical tourism, costs, and crowd levels. So So for scenario A, we will be also tracking the migration pattern so that they would know which days or which seasons will be the whale shark will be available in that area so that they can plan ahead so that to involve the whale shark interaction in their trip. Well, for the scenario B, it's they have this fixed destination. We will be providing alternative destinations or alternative um, we will be providing alternative tourism attractions so that they can enjoy their preferred destination. For real three, JK will be explaining.
Thanks, Nay. So for this part of our study, we look at where the local how the local economy is heavily reliant on whale shark tourism. Whenever tourism activity slows down, whether because of the off season or stricter conservation policies or other external factors, the community experiences immediate consequences, particularly income loss and unemployment. Recognizing this, our objective is to explore alternative livelihood options that could possibly diversify income sources while promoting sustainability and reducing the community's vulnerability to disruptions in the whale shark industry. To do this, we will be using the decision tree analysis. So this tool will help us map out different choices, look at the actions needed to make them happen, and think through the potential outcomes for the community. Some of the options we initially identified include promoting ecotourism activities like hiking, which could which would involve building trails and training local guides,
Okay.
or developing agritourism through farm tours and produce sampling. Another possibility would be to encourage the production and sale of local crafts and products. And finally, expanding community-based dining experiences where visitors can enjoy traditional meals. So we recognize that each of these options offer different strengths, whether it's creating jobs with a low environmental footprint or preserving local culture and heritage or offering more family-based employment opportunities. Although these are just our initial options, these could change as our research develops. That's it for Real 3.
Okay. So I feel that this aside from real one, so real two and three seems like more AI based result that you put. Okay. So can we just combine the real one and real two and three probably, and then you connect it with real one? And if I can suggest, can you put real three discussion about game theory later, if you want? Yeah. Is it possible that you contribute more based on your own knowledge rather than just relying on the AI? Because if a human can feel that this is AI based, so I can see that. So please improve.
All right. But actually, for the data, we're planning to send the spreadsheet so that for your review first
Yeah.
prior to.
Yeah.
Thank
Right.
you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So next groups. Any other
Sir,
group? Yes, go.
for Group 8, sir.
Okay. Um, you are already co-host, so you can present.
Can you see my screen now, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, classmates. So we are the Group 8, and our topic is about transportation preferences of BS Architecture students from the National University in Manila. So, so for the introduction, just an overview. So about the Metro Manila's transportation landscape, it is characterized by a diverse mix of transport service options, which includes private vehicles, pedicabs and tricycles, traditional and modern jeepneys, city buses, as well as UV Express. We also have trains, different types of trains, the LRT, MRT, and the regular trains operated by the Philippine National Railways, and uh, the modern ride-hailing services, which includes transport network vehicle services like Grab, Angkas, Joyride, and we also have metered taxis. So for our study, we focus on the commuters' transportation preferences. So this is a good indicator for assessing the sufficiency of the existing number of available units in relation to the commuter's demand for a specific transport service. So for the scope of our study, so our area of study, National University of Manila is the first non-sectarian higher education institution here in the Philippines, which was established way back 1900s. So it is located within the university belt, wherein different universities, especially those having high concentration of student enrollees, are located. So particularly here in Sampaloc district in Manila. So this university, the National University in Manila, offers 37 undergraduate programs and 11 graduate programs. And for our study, we focused on the BS Architecture program. And as of the second semester of academic year 2024-2025, there is a total of 1,569 student enrollees for all year levels. So, as one of the major universities in the Philippines and its strategic location, the student population of the National University in Manila plays an important role in influencing the transportation characteristics in the locality. And understanding the transportation preferences of the BS architecture students may also represent and provide a better understanding on the students' public transportation demands. So from the total number of enrolled students under different levels of BS architecture program, a sample population will be determined through a convenience sampling method whose responses
Uh,
will be gathered through an online survey, sir.
Sorry, is this related to our subject?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you? Okay.
Okay. So for this research study, we would like to assess the preferences of these students when it comes to transport decisions. So we will determine if these preferences is influenced by the cost, the travel time, the reliability, the safety, and the comfort of this transport modality. Okay, so here is our sample survey questionnaire. Okay, sir, sa online survey.
Okay.
So our goal is to identify the dominant transportation choices and their influencing factors. We also have to evaluate satisfaction levels and pain points across traditional and modern transport modes and assess possible or potential scenarios for optimizing services such as fare adjustments or partnerships between service providers. So in order for us to gather enough information, here are the guide questions which focus on the transportation preferences of the students, the transportation experience, the transportation service attributes, and comparison of the essential factors. So for as of yesterday, April 24, 2025, we have a total of 53 responses from our survey, 25 of which are male and 28 are female. students. So here is the age distribution, just an overview. And for the cost of transport, so majority of the students who responded on our survey um, spend more than 100 pesos on their one-way trip from their home to their school. Okay. And based on our gathered responses, the their transportation preferences is mainly influenced by its convenience.
Okay. My question is remain the same. Is this related to our subject?
Yes,
Where?
sir. For determining, sir, the preferences of transport decisions.
Okay, can you focus on that, please?
Yes, sir. So for this, we apply the analytical hierarchy processor to determine the
Okay, so if you apply AHP,
yes, sir.
can I see okay, your survey on this part?
Yes,
So we
sir.
did pairwise comparison.
Pairwise comparison, sir.
So where?
Here, sir. So we
Uh,
will this
no,
one, sir.
with your survey. Can I see your survey form on this pairwise comparison?
Sir, we just
So you only put 1 to 9, right?
yes, sir.
So it's not AHP.
We only derive from what we
That's not correct.
okay, sir.
Okay, so
Okay, sir.
AHP must be really pairwise comparison in the survey form.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
actually we did this scaling. Is it wrong po ba? This type of scale like 1 to 4 comfort is much more important. And
Well, you can still use
like that.
other technique.
Oh,
So not ASP, because in ASP it's very strict. You have 1 to 9 on the
oh,
left and 1 to 9 on the so
Yes.
okay,
right.
sir.
So this one
Actually we
you
tried
can still
to
use IFM prioritization, for example, for this
Yes,
one.
sir.
I have no
okay,
problem with that.
Okay, sir.
okay.
So
So
we are trying to integrate AHP, sir, in one of our data analysis.
Yes.
but your questionnaire is not supporting that yet.
Yes, sir.
How did you get these numbers?
Sir, based on the
Based on the averaging.
average rating, sir.
Yeah.
That's not correct, you.
Okay, sir. If ever.
Okay,
Well,
sir. So we can adjust, sir, our
yeah.
assessment, sir.
Right, because you make a lot of assumption by putting this. Right.
Yes, sir. That
I mean, it looks like you're creating your own data rather than
okay,
the
sir.
actual survey.
Okay,
Oh,
sir.
sir.
Noted on that, sir.
Right. So
So if
But
we would like to continue, sir.
yes, okay.
Okay po. Sir Carlo will discuss the initial,
yeah.
sir, age test.
Okay, sir. So basically we did this the AHP analytic hierarchy process wherein we also normalize the utility scores for each factors as well as the alternatives. Sir Kenneth, next. Next, sir. So basically, from what we had, yung previous, Sir Kenneth. Okay. Yeah. We were able to compute for the um lambda max as 5.42, and basically our CR gave us the value of 9.4%, which somehow we tried to uh interpret it as acceptable based on our computations. And then after which we normalize the values, utility scores. Next. Those utility scores represents how well each transportation alternative performs in relation to each criterion, like the cost, travel time, comfort, safety, and reliability. Since each of these criteria is measured on a different scale or is subjective in nature, we needed to normalize them. So we actually derive those assessments either on the aggregated students' feedback of how each transportation mode type fares with each respect to cost, time, comfort, and safety,
Can you
reliability.
explain what is the meaning of single mode, dual mode, and multimodal?
Sir, based on our survey, we actually tried to ask them if they are just going to with one mode of transportation, as well as if they are also um using a combination of certain modes of transportation such as bus plus jeepney or trains, as well as other types such as tricycle and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
And when they we actually had majority of them, well, basically we had 43 uh respondents that told us na they are uh opting to use multimodal. No,
Okay.
actually 46, no, using more than one mode of transportation in their commute from home to school. Whereas 7 students only use single modes exclusively.
Okay. I got
Then from there, we also ask students as their main choice, saying their current mode of transportation.
Okay, so this study is basically exploratory.
Yes, sir.
So this is not strategic thinking yet, because your policy, your alternative mode in here is not really policy. It's based on what they do,
Okay, sir.
right? So there is no real policy what you can intervene as an urban planner
Okay.
or a transport planner. This is level 1 study, which is only exploratory. That means you can describe this one. This is fine, okay, but not enough for this class.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We will explore
Okay.
more.
Please read the course syllabus again.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Noted, sir.
This is very far from our goal in the course syllabus.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so what is the planning here is unclear, because even if you know this is multimodal or dual mode, so what can you do to intervene?
Actually, sir, we'll try to check also the other analysis such as the regret and sensitivity analysis if ever we
It doesn't matter the analysis, but if you don't have the alternative policy,
okay.
these are not policy. These are the alternative mode that they use. There are no policies here yet. Can you see?
Yes, sir. Maybe we can also consider, sir, the geographical routes of
No,
these.
you don't understand the meaning of policy. Policy is something that you can intervene as a planner.
Okay, sir. What if
There are certain degree of control that you can do,
okay, sir.
okay, that can change the situation. That is what we study here.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Noted.
So would it, sir, question if ever,
Yeah.
from a practical standpoint, if ever this analysis suggests something like improving the intermodal transportation options might be, or
There
it
is no
could,
point. What
okay.
you can do with it?
Okay.
Okay, look at the previous example of the other groups. Okay. Their policies is always something that they can intervene. Can you see? Okay. Earlier, for example, Breathness and Vin a while ago. Can you see? They always have certain things that we can intervene something to control the situation. Okay, maybe their proposal not good or good, I don't know. But at this point, it's very different from what you are doing. This one is practically exploratory. Okay, in terms of study, this is perfect, no problem. Okay? But in terms of urban planning, transportation planning, this is not what we want. So,
Yes, sir. We will work on it extensively, sir, so that we can introduce policy interventions based
correct.
on data.
Okay, sir.
Yes. No, please read the core syllabus again.
Okay, sir. We'll try to check on that lenses, sir.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Who?
Thank you, sir, for the recommendation, sir.
Yes, thank you. Any other groups want to present? Okay, so if not, shall we start with our lecture? Okay. Or you want to break for a while before we continue?
3 minutes break, sir.
How many?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. 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 5 minutes break. No problem. So.
Okay, thank you.
Let's meet again 7:22. Okay. Okay. I think for all, yeah. So what's the difference between forecasting, okay, and planning? Okay. So of course, both forecasting and planning is about predicting the future based on data and certain assumption or invariance. Okay. But the difference is forecasting, the study descriptive is passive and objective. Okay. We predict something what will happen in the future without our intervention. But the difference is planning is active and subjective. That means, so the point is you have certain policy, certain action that will control the path to achieve our objective. Okay. So the previous presentation a while ago is mostly about forecasting, but not planning yet. Okay, so I hope you can start to think what is the direction, what is the policy that you want to do, okay, in urban planning, so that you can guide the system toward your desired result. Okay. So for our lecture today, we will discuss about game theory. Okay. Have you ever studied game theory before? Have you ever heard about that? No? Okay, so let's start with Hmm? Yeah. Okay, in economic. Okay. Prisoner dilemma, that's correct. So I will introduce game theory in brief today. And we'll discuss about zero sum and non-zero sum games. Okay. Well, let's start with the introduction. Can you see my slide or not?
It's not yet
Not
shown.
yet, sir. Not
No?
showing, sir. All right, sir, we can see it now.
Okay, good. Okay, so in this introduction, I want to talk qualitatively first, okay, about the assumption behind game theory. Okay, and then later we can talk about the mathematics, okay, and how to compute. Okay, so okay, so what is game theory? Okay, and what is the objective? What is the assumption? Or the components? So these are the main part that we want to discuss. So this is still part of decision analysis. Last time we discussed about decision under uncertainty and certainty, under risk, utility, and last week I think we talked about group decision making. Yeah. So now this is the last part of this decision analysis topic. So we have a decision under conflict with this game theory. And this is super interesting, okay, because this is not just for economic, also for urban planning and so on. Okay, and there are several Nobel Prize winners only in the topic of game theory. Yeah. So that means show how important this topic is. Okay, so game theory study how smart and ruthless people should act and interact in strategic settings. Okay, so it is about strategic interaction among individuals or groups, okay, that they can have conflict or cooperating interests. Okay, so how your decision will affect each other. Okay, so we study what is called strategic interaction. That means you as individual know your action will have effect on the outcomes, and then you will act on this outcome. Okay, so there are two parts of game theory. One is called cooperative game. Yeah. So in cooperative games, so it is a game when the player can make a binding commitment. Okay. And the other one is called competitive games. Okay. So in competitive games, okay, you have either conflict or without conflict. So prisoner dilemma is one of these competitive games. Okay. So our topic today, last meetings, we discussed cooperative game, with this how you do strategy in votings, in the group decision. These are cooperative games. Okay, a cooperative game can be with or without conflicts. Similarly, in competitive games, you can also have cooperative or non-cooperative, with or without conflict. Okay, so when we say strategic games, that means we are doing competitive games. Okay, so what is this? You have two or more players. In decision analysis last time, this one, under uncertainty, under certainty, under risk, under utilities, okay, these are individual make decision against nature. Okay, but once you go to a group decision and this is under conflict, this is no longer individual, but at least 2%. Okay, so you have 2 or more players, and then it has several choices of action. So the alternative is the action or behavior. What you will do, okay, to intervene. And then each choice may have more, one or more outcomes. So there are certain payoff, there are certain consequences, okay, based on your alternative. This is not include, when we say game theory, this is not include lotteries, okay, slot machines, game of pure chance, okay, and this is also not include a game without strategic interaction between player. Okay, solitaire, for example, this is not included in this game theory. Okay, so the goal of game theory is to organize our knowledge, to increase our understanding about our work, and then we can have predictive power. What will happen if someone do something, okay, based on the game matrix later. Yeah? So there are certain rules that we can derive from this game theory. Okay, what is the objective? Okay, how is the rule of the game that we want to achieve that objective? From there, you can predict, okay, what the opponent will do. And this is super interesting because now you can predict what other people will do because of this. Okay, so the assumption, this is the assumption of game theory. In the world of game theory, there is no mercy, no compassion. Okay? There is only self-interest. Okay? Most people care only about themselves. And everyone knows this and accepts this. Okay, so the main assumption of game theory is self-interest. Okay, so for example, okay, the employer will never give you a raise because it will be a nice thing to do. Okay, so that means you will get a raise in your job, okay, only if you can convince the employer that it serves his or her interest to give you more money. Okay, so if we use game theory, so beware that you may enjoy this lesson. Okay, but remember, I teach this not because I want to make you happy. Okay? I did this to maximize my own payoff. Yeah? So I don't really care in any way about your own welfare, based on this assumption. So the assumption is self-interest. Okay. So the second assumption is individual is rational. Okay. So that means every individual knows the strategy available. Okay, and you have complete and consistent preference about the possible outcomes. And everyone is aware about this preference. This is very big assumption, I understand. But then everyone can determine the best strategy for themselves and then implement this strategy. Okay, so rational, second assumption. So when we say rational, okay, we say, look, this is not enough that I know that my action, okay, and your action will affect the outcomes, but I must also know that you know this fact as well. Okay, so both players, so if we have 2 players, both players understand the same game. Okay, so let me give example in this military strategy. Okay, so In our game, okay, we will just put the decision alternative as two players. So we call this row and columns. Okay. So if row do alternative R1, okay, and columns nation do alternative C1, then the fail here is for the row. Okay, this is the agreement. Yeah. If you see this kind of table, okay, only one, that means this is the payoff for the row. Okay, so then the question is, what is the best strategy for the row nation and what is the best strategy for the column nation? Okay, so remember, each nation does not know what other nation strategy will be selected. So okay, there's no real information here. And then, but we know all possible strategies and its payoff. So we have complete plans, something like this in the payoff matrix. Okay. And we can also assume, okay, that the opponent also knows all of this complete plan of the strategies and its payoff. So the game matrix should be the same between you and the opponent. Okay, but only from different point of view. Okay, so then the question is, why are we going to learn game theory? Because when you learn game theory, you will learn that even when everyone actually are ruthlessly, extremely competitive, okay, even though everyone is selfish, then they can also cooperate and treat each other with loyalty and respect. Okay, so morality comes from logic. That is what game theory is about. Okay, so you will learn based on your move, okay, what you think other people might do. So now, however, if your move is based on what your opponent might do, and their move is based on what they think, okay, you are going to do, right? Then your move will in fact be somewhat you think your opponent think that you will do, right? So it's game of perception eventually. So in the learning game theory, you start to put yourself in other people's shoes. Okay. Now, in game theory, there are four basic components. Okay. We have a set of players. This is in general. Yeah. You have set of actions. These are the alternative. And then you have the payoff that the player might receive. Okay. So, and then there are certain information. So, when we set players, they are individual or groups who will make decision. Remember the assumption a while ago, the player are rational and they will move to maximize their payoff. Okay, so each player always assume that the other player also trying to maximize their payoff. Okay, well, can I use nature as a player? It is also possible. Yeah, so this is called pseudo player that will make random action. This is example. Okay, similar to if you have only single player, so similar to decision analysis earlier. Okay, so say you have two action. Okay, to drill or to sell the equipment. Okay, and then the result is no oil or have oil. And of course, these are the numbers represent million of US dollar. For example, if you drill and it has no oil, then you lost money. Okay. If you drill but have oil, you will earn a lot of profit in million. Okay. And then if you sell the equipment and it has no oil, okay, you will still get certain amount of money, say $1 million. And then if you sell equipment and it has no oil, then you will lose opportunity, right? So -5. Okay, so the question is, which one is better? Should we drill or should we sell the equipment, right? So the number of persons minimum is 2, but you can have many other players, not just 2. Okay. Next is the action, that is the alternative. Okay. So each player move without knowing what other person is going to do. So the action of the move is actually can be combined, okay, similar to decision tree. But in our class, we just use one game matrix. So something like this one. Okay, so this is just introduction to game theory. And when we say strategy, okay, then you have complete plan of the actions. Okay, so that means you have the full table. Okay. If you have several tables, then you can create decision trees of those tables. Okay, so what's the difference between action and strategy? Yeah, actions means you have only one table in simple games. Okay. When we say strategy, that means you have several tables, okay, that you need to choose in terms of the decision tree. Okay, so when we say payoff, that means we measure the actual or expected consequences. Okay, so it can be in material reward, for example, money, or if you don't have that material reward, you can also use utilities. Okay, so basically the payoff is just numbers, okay, ordinal number. Okay, so mostly we will use utility, for example, satisfaction, pleasure, and so on. So there are two meanings in payoff. Yeah, one is the utility of player one received after all player or the nature pick up their strategy. The second is actually expected utility that he will receive as the function of the strategy that chose by him or by the other player. Okay, so next, the meaning of outcomes. The outcome of the games is the set of interesting elements that the modeler or you pick, okay, from the value of action, payoff, and other variables. Next terminology is called equilibrium. This is where you can predict. Okay, so equilibrium is a strategic combination, okay, which is the best strategy for each of the n players of the game. Okay, so our goal in game theory is to find the equilibrium. Okay, because when you can see the equilibrium, okay, you can see what action will come out for each player. Okay, remember this: equilibrium is not always exists, and when it happens, it's not always unique. Okay, so now we have what is called competitive game or strategic games. Okay? So in competitive game, the positive payoff of one player, okay, that means negative payoff of the other player. So if this happens, this game is called zero-sum game. Okay, so that means your winnings equal to your opponent loss. Okay, so if you put it in the other side, so your winning minus the opponent loss is 0. That's why this is called zero-sum game. Yeah, that means your payoff plus, yeah, your opponent payoff will be 0. Okay, so for example, yeah, if you have 3 players, for example, in stock market, you have trader A, B, and the broker. Okay, so the sum is 0. Okay, in this case, the broker always wins. So in zero-sum games, you have at least 2 players. Okay, the sum of the payoff A and B is 0. So in that case, I can just show the payoff of A or the payoff of B alone. because I know the other player is just negative of that. Okay. So this is the example. Okay. So we have two players. Say I will call this Miss Row and Mr. Column. Okay. And this payoff matrix always, based on our agreement, is the payoff for Miss Row. Okay. So when we put 4 here, that means if Miss Row select A and Mr. Column select C, then Miss Row will get 4 and Mr. Column will get -4. Okay, so the same thing here. If Miss Row select alternative B and Mr. Column select alternative D, and this one 5, okay, -5, right? So that means Miss Row will pay, cost -5, and Mr. Column will gain +5. Is it clear or not? Yeah. So how to do that? How to select the strategy? How to get the equilibrium? So Miss Row will always maximizing the minimum row. Yeah. So what you will do is you get the minimum in each row like this. Yeah. And Mr. Column always minimizing the maximum column. So what you will do is you maximize each column. Okay. Then first you minimize the row and then you maximize between 5 and 4. Maximum is 5. Okay. And then in the columns you maximize first. Okay. So 6. This one 4 and 5. Maximum is 5. Okay. And then you minimize. So between 6 and 5, the minimum is 5. And if you get the same number, okay, with this 5 and 5 here, this is called the game value. Yeah, that is the equilibrium. Up to here, is it clear or not? Is there any question? Now, the second part is called non-zero-sum game. Okay. When we do non-zero-sum game, okay, in zero-sum game, you have only one number. Can you see this? Okay. Why? Because the payoff for column is just negative of this. Okay. But in non-zero-sum games, because non-zero-sum, I don't know the actual, it's not negative of the row. That means now you have two numbers there. Okay, so the first number is the payoff for row. The second number is the payoff for column. Okay, so this is an example. Okay. So what is the meaning of this -1 and 1 here? That means if Miss Row select alternative C and Mr. Column select alternative F, okay, so this one, right? So that means Miss Row will get -1 and Mr. Column will get +1. Okay, these are the payoff for row and column. So now you can represent this game matrix into 3 diagrams like this. Okay, so say you start with Miss Row. There are 2 possible outcomes, top and bottom. So you can put like this. And then now you play as Mr. Column. Okay, so Mr. Column have 2 possible actions with this left and right. Okay, and then now you can put the outcomes. Okay, so if Miss Row select top and Mr. Column select left, then this is the outcomes, 2,1, and so on. Okay, so next is the information. Okay, so this is the next component here. So information means each player have certain knowledge about the value of different variables that they think it is possible. Okay, so now different value of this variable may demand have different strength. Okay, so the knowledge of what action is previously taken is also another information. So I give you examples so that you can understand the meaning. Okay. In maximum for row, minimax for column. This is for the zero-sum games you are asking. So on the element of payoff x comma y, x comma minus x is zero-sum game. That's correct. So if the cell in single cell is non-zero-sum game, is automatically up. So if you use two numbers, okay, if you use two numbers like this, okay, this is general. Okay, that means you have non-zero-sum game. Maybe your question is, if I have only one number, can I make it into two numbers? Is that what you ask? Okay. Okay. Yes, you can. Okay. You can make it zero-sum games as non-zero-sum game. That means you have 1 and minus 1. Okay. You have a 2 and minus 2. Okay. So non-zero-sum game is more general than zero-sum game. Okay. So in that case, zero-sum can be represented as non-zero-sum, but not the other way around. Okay. So I hope this answers your question. Now come back here. This is the example of information. Okay. So this is called non-credible threat. Okay. For example, most grade school teachers actually have self-interest, not informing the parent. Okay. That the children is actually misbehaved. Why? Because it will upset the parents. Okay. And the teacher realized that children bad behavior probably mostly teacher's fault, not because of the children itself. Okay. So let's make that into decision 3. So from the child, you have the child can do behave or not behave. Okay. So me as the teacher can tell the parent or not tell the parent. Right? So, but yeah, the children does not know, okay, the teacher's self-interest. So there is certain information that is hidden. Okay, so this information is actually hidden from the children. Okay? So that's why the teacher will threaten the children to behave well, or else will report to the parent. Right? So if the children knew the teacher's self-interest, then they will decide not to behave. Right? So I'll give you more example on this so that you can see. Is there any question about the introduction of this one? I have this one is the more example so that you can start to see. Sure. You can go to the slide threat and credibility. In Moodle. Yeah. So based on game theory, so I'll just give you the example of application so that you get more interest first, and then we can go to the mathematics. Okay. So the application of information in game theory, yeah, a non-credible threat and credible threat. Okay. So information play a very important role in the threat. This one a while ago, I discussed about the decision tree of the teacher and the student, okay, and the child. So now this is another example. Okay. Parent threatened to disown daughter if she get pregnant. Okay. So the daughter believe the threat or not? Okay. No. Okay. If she knows that the parent actually love her and she believe that threat, okay, was made to improve her welfare. Because if she get pregnant, however, it will not be the interest of the caring parent to actually carry out the threat, right? So this is actually non-credible threat. Okay. Now, most of you are working, right? The question is, you probably want to demand your salary to raise. Okay? Why should your boss give you a raise? Okay? Why is it in her interest to be nice to you? Okay? You have any chance at getting raised if your company will be worse off without your labor, right? So now the best chance to obtaining a raise, therefore, lies in convincing your boss that you will leave if you don't get the money, right? So the question is this credible threat or not? Okay, let's analyze this. So you will ask for the raise, right? And then the boss can have two actions, right? So give raise or not to give raise. Okay. Say if the boss decided to give raise, and then the boss will give you, but will give you 20,000 more, for example. Okay. So if the boss not to give raise, okay, then what you will do? Either you quit or not quit, right? So if you quit, the boss will lose you. Okay. If you don't quit, then the boss will keep you at the old salary. Correct? Yeah. So then how are you going to create this into game matrix? Okay. Say your boss, okay, let's put numbers. Yeah? Say your boss, okay, value your work actually at 150. Okay. And then you demand to raise 20 from the 80 currently. Okay. So let's make that game matrix for your boss payoff. Okay. So between your boss and you. Okay. So this is your threat, right? To quit or not to quit. And then the boss will have two choices, whether to give raise for your salary or not to give raise. Right? So this is the boss value of your work, 150. So if the boss give raise and you quit, so become minus 150. Okay. This is the current value, which is 80. And then, of course, you will not get raised, so minus 20. So become 90. Is that correct? Okay. And then what happens if your boss do not give raise and you quit? So that means the value is 150, okay, minus, right? Because you quit. And then the 80 is your salary, so now become positive because do not need to pay you anymore. So this value become negative 70. Remember, this negative 70 is for your boss. Yeah, this is the your boss payoff. Okay. If the boss give raise and you don't quit, okay, so you get the other way around. So you get the boss will get 50 value. And if the boss did not keep the raise and you do not quit, actually positive 70, right? So then say you don't know actually how much your boss value you. This 150 is unknown to you, right? So if you don't know this information, then your actual game matrix become like this. This is the different information only. Okay. So now this is based on your payoff. Okay. If you quit and your boss keep raise, okay, so you don't know this 150. So then from your point of view, so this one become negative 80 and minus 20 that you demand. So minus 100. Okay. The same thing, if you don't quit and your boss keep raise, then the total value is now become positive 100 for you. This is your payoff. Okay. The same thing with this value here. So can you see? Both are actually zero-sum games, right? But because there is different in the information, okay, then what happened? Okay, now you have because you have different from the information, now you have different strategy. Yeah? So if you calculate the minimum row and maximum columns here, right? So you will see, okay, you may think the best way is not to demand any raise. And your boss may think that you may quit if he did not raise your salary, right? So because you have different information, so and you keep using zero-sum games, this is what will happen. Okay, but now you can also put it these two information into non-zero-sum games, isn't it? So we just put all this two information in one matrix. Yeah. So of course, this is assuming that you know the information about your boss valuation, and your boss also know about your payoff matrix. Yeah. So with this, okay, we have new non-zero sum games. Okay, based on the two a while ago. And how to solve this problem? Okay, you can select. Yeah, say you play as your U here. So this is U is the first number, right? Okay, so between minus 100 and 100, which one you like to do? Of course, positive. Yeah. Between negative 80 and positive 80, which one you will do? Of course, the not quit. This is what you will choose. Right? You will not, because this one is negative and negative. So this is actually dominated strategy. You will not do that. So then you remove this alternative. Yeah. The boss will also think. Okay. The boss is the second number, right? So between 90 and minus 70, of course, he will maximize the utility, so minus 70. And between positive 50 and positive 70, of course, he will choose positive 70. So this one is also dominated strategy. So eventually you get this as your equilibrium. So you will not quit, okay, and you will not get the raise. Okay. So without the critical threat, both you and your boss might think the best way is not to demand any raise and not to quit. Correct? Okay, so this is how you play with the game theory. Okay, so now question is how to make the threat credible. Okay, so show you have alternative to other company which offer higher, right? So the best way to make your threat credible, okay, to prove to your boss that another company will pay you, yeah, the salary demand that you want. Okay, this is one way to make your threat credible. Okay, and second way to make your threat credible is to remove the alternative completely. Yeah. Do you know the story of Cortes? When their soldiers actually very low morale, and what he did is he put down all the soldiers from the ship and then burned their own ship, okay? So that eliminating the choice. Okay, by eliminating the choice, you increase actually your payoff. So now come back to the credible threat to raise your salary. Okay? If actually to tell everyone in the firm that you will definitely quit if you don't get the raise. Okay, so you put yourself in a position where you will suffer complete humiliation if you were denied the money and still stay in the job. Okay, so your goal should be to make it as painful as possible for you to stay, even if you are not given the salary increase. Okay, so a while ago, okay, we changed the game matrix now. Okay, with the credible threat, that means you will put very painful to yourself. Okay, so minus 1,000 here. Okay. With this, we can calculate the standard points. Okay. Without credible threat, this is the equilibrium. Yeah, not quit and not to give raise. But with credible threat, okay, the equilibrium become quit or in your boss not give raise. Okay, knowing this, okay, if you put this into the non-zero sum games, okay, so now become minus 1,000 here, right? So then the equilibrium is here. Okay, so don't worry about how to compute equilibrium. We will discuss it later. Okay, so the computation can be this is technical, right? So we can discuss it later. At least at this point, you understand that game theory can create strategy for you. That's my point there. Okay, by putting this into numbers, then you create strategy. Okay, so the point is by securing a reputation of honesty is also another way to increase your credibility. Honest behavior arises from self-interest rather than morality. Now, this is another way to create your threat credible. Yeah, I know there are some potential kidnapping, yeah, in the Philippines, right? So now a kidnapper will demand ransom, okay? But the victim family should comply only if paying the ransom actually increase the chance that the victim will be released, right? So the victim family will pay the ransom only if they believe it will increase the chance of freeing the victim. Okay. Now, the kidnapper planning on playing this trade in the future will benefit from having the reputation of honesty. This is funny. Yeah, kidnapper should be honest. Otherwise, yeah, they cannot get it. Yeah. So repeat kidnapper want his victim family to know, like in Abu Sayyaf, right? Yeah, that the past he releases his victim if, but only if his demand were met. Okay, so can you see this? That honesty, even for kidnapper, is important. Okay. So business, the same thing. Business have greater incentive to treat their customer fairly, with honesty, if they plan on playing the game again, right? So from the customer point of view, they can go to certain companies, say Acme, or not to go to this company. Yeah. So if they don't go, then everyone gets zero. Okay. If they go to certain company, okay, the company can have choice to exploit the customer or to treat the customer fairly. Yeah. So these are the payoff, right? If the company exploit, then the company will get, say, 1,000, the customer lose 2,000. Yeah? And if they treat the customer fairly, well, get only little. You see this? Okay. But if you compute, the equilibrium, okay, in short term and long term, this one, okay, then you will start to see, if the game is played once, okay, the company will benefit to exploit the customer. Okay. But if they want to play for long term, okay, they better treat the customer fairly. Yeah, because for the short term, this is the best way. Yeah. So, but for repeating play, okay, then the long term, this company will better off if they play honesty. Okay. This is why people invest a lot in advertising, okay, in branding. Can you see that? Okay. Why people pay a lot for branding? Because they want to increase the trustworthiness. Can you see that? Right? So many people in the business exhibit honesty, not because they are moral, but because they are greedy, because of self-interest. Okay, so, and remember this, repeated player will not guarantee honesty also. Say, for example, if the firm is actually facing bankruptcy, this is about information, right? So they may cheat today. They may cheat you today. Okay, even though they always in the past actually honest. So based on game theory, you can start to see, okay, we can face this into numbers. So next question, is it better to be mean or to be nice? Okay, so let's say, consider this game. Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, let's see. Okay, so say the competitor, okay, being nice or to be mean, the same thing. You can be nice or mean, right? Say if the competitor being nice, okay, both of you will get 1,000. If the competitor being mean, okay, then you can choose either being nice or being mean. Okay, if both of you get mean and mean, both will get 0. Okay, if the competitor mean to you and you be nice, then the competitor get 2,000 and you get 100. Right? So what happened? Let's put that into a matrix. Okay, so since the competitor move first, rationally you will play nice, you get 100, right? Now, if the game is played simultaneously, you will still play nice. Okay, so the question is how to force the competitor to play nice so that you will get, say, 1,000 in this game. Okay, so in that case, okay, if the competitor think that you are interested in seeking revenge, to win irrationally by being mean, okay, just think only, and not rationally to maximize your payoff, then he will be nice to you and get 1,000. So This is actually paradox, right? So a person who rationally care about money make less than someone who irrationally make more diverse goal. Yeah. So you can start to see. Yeah. This is how you make strategic decision based on game theory. Okay, and this is the equilibrium actually at this point. Okay, so being perceived as irrational, like Donald Trump, yeah, can be advantageous. You see, yeah. So your competitor will make her decision not based upon whether you're actually interested in revenge, but based on perception, whether you are interested in the revenge. Okay, we understand revenge is actually irrational decision, irrational desire to harm others, right? But it sometimes becomes optimal strategy to adopt, pretending that you are insanely attached to vengeance, even though you don't. Can you see that? Okay. When someone did violate your legal right, okay, then you will rationally evaluate whether to sue or not. Okay. So these are examples, various examples in game theories that probably you may be interested. Okay. So to give more motivation for you to learn about game theory. Right? So these are the summaries. Okay, up to here. Is there any question? Don't ask me about how to compute. I will definitely tell you that. Okay. About the threat and credible threat. Is there any question? Is this something interests you or not? So yeah, interesting. Yeah. So let's go to the modeling of game theory. Okay. Now we go in this modeling of zero-sum game first. We go to the first part with this modeling of zero-sum games. Okay. So I will show you, okay, several examples. Can you see the slide? Yes. Okay. So we did not go to a computation yet. This is just how you create the payoff matrix. That's important, right? Because even if you know how to compute, actually computer can do that. Okay. But if you don't know how to model, then the whole point is useless. Okay. So computer can create the computation, but you need to know how to model. Okay. So this is a kind of workshop. Yeah. So we will develop your own matrix. So zero-sum games. Yeah, we will deal with zero-sum games. Okay. Remember, I just repeat again. So this payoff is for row. This is our agreement. Okay. So we have two players, Miss Row and Mr. Columns, and you can have many alternatives in the rows and in the columns. And this number is the payoff, the consequence for Miss Row. Okay. Of course, because this is zero-sum game, that means for Mr. Column, it's just negative of this number. Right? So now if Miss Row select A and Mr. Column select C, yeah, so that means Miss Row will get 4. Yeah. How about what is the meaning of -5 here? -5 here is if Miss Row select B, okay, and Mr. Column select D, right? Then Miss Row will lose 5. That means Mr. Column will win 5. Okay. So, question. How about this one? Yeah. Is this still even a game? Yeah. This is actually expected payoff. Yeah. So the expected payoff will be 0. Yeah. Even though the actual game is not necessarily 0. Yeah. So the actual payment on each game can be non-zero, but the expected, that means the average will be 0. Yeah. Right. So let's say, how about this one? Who win in this game?
Miss Row.
Yes, because Mr. Column is always negative. Not true. Yeah. This one is true. Yeah. But this one, Mr. Column is always negative too. Yeah. So Miss Row is always win in this game. Yeah. So this is the game that Mr. Column don't want to play. Supposed to be. Yeah. So how about this one? Anyone can explain? Yeah. This is a single player, yeah, say an oil company, yeah, whether to drill or to sell equipment, yeah. These are against nature, single player against nature, okay? So if you drill and no oil, you lost this money. Yeah? If you drill and oil, you earn that money. So this is how we connect between decision analysis of single player with the game of nature, similar to last time. Okay. Yes. So how you compute? Okay, I show you last time, but we will go more detail later. The computation. Okay. So practice game of rock, scissors, paper. Can anyone type the game matrix or show? Can anyone show rock, scissors, paper?
So can we use one binary?
Yeah.
One.
You can
Yeah,
draw
see.
here if you want. Can you access this one? This is a lot of empty space. Yes, you can use binary or trinary. Okay. Right. So between rock and scissor, who win? Okay. Right. So this is the game for row, right? The value for row. I think that one is -1. Should be. Yeah. Right. Yes. This is rock. The circle is rock. Is that correct? Then this one must be minus, right? -1. Yes. And this one also -1. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Archie. Yeah. Oh, good. So you know how to make the K matrix. It's very good, very good. Okay. You see, you can develop the K matrix, right? Between two players. Okay. Great. Yeah, so this one. Let me remove. Okay. So now this is an example. Okay. You have two nation war games, say row and columns. Okay, and the roadmap is given. Okay, and there are part for rows, and these are the part for rows, and these are the part for columns. So the question is, what is the size of the K matrix? Okay, so now the path become the alternative. Yes, right? So now look at this, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 by 5, yeah? Very good, yeah, very good with 9 by 5, yeah? So these are the example, okay? So if, for example, if a row nation passing this route and then column nation passing this route, okay, this one will get -8 for the row. So, okay, so the negative mean the row will lose 8 units, for example, and so on. Okay, so positive here, that means a row will win, and that means because this is zero-sum game, so column will lose 3. Yeah. Another example. Yeah. This is cat and mouse game. Okay. The cat will enter here, and then the mouse will enter at the bottom here. Okay. So, and then they may turn in the corner. They can go straight or turn like this. Okay. And then they travel at the same speed. And then given that enough time to cover 1/4 only, yeah? So only 1/4 of the maze. So it's just 3 steps. Then after which the mouse is rescued if the mouse still alive. So then the question is, can you develop a game matrix of that? Yeah. So we call this game of pure strategy, and later we have what is called game of mixed strategy. Yeah. So pure strategy means you don't have any probability. Yeah, just one time play. Yeah. Mixed strategy means you play many times. Okay. So now each player, either mouse or cat, will have 8 possible strategies. Yeah. So these are the strategies for cat. Okay. So I just combine the name, but actually they should be separated. This one should be separated. For the mouse and the cat is not the same. Okay, should be separated. So these are the all possible strategies, right? The same thing here. This is just the name is the same, so strategy 5, but they are not connected. Yeah, this is actually separated. Okay, so the cat is actually maximizing to get the mouse, and the mouse is minimizing. Okay, so the mouse is minimizing. So this one is binary. Okay. This is the payoff for cat. Okay. 0 mean nothing happened. 1 mean the cat eat the mouse. Okay. So this is the example that from the games that you put. Yeah, I give you several examples here. Yeah? You can put from earlier from the path. Yeah, this one is also from the path. Yeah, then you can start to create your own K matrix, something like this. Yeah, it's not always 2 by 2. Okay, and for the rock scissor paper, this is what you did a while ago. Okay, now you can also modify. Okay, so let's practice this. What will happen if we modify the rule of rocks, paper, and scissor? Okay, the cycle is still the same, but scissor is higher than paper and paper higher than rock, and so on. Okay. But the rule is not the same as a while ago, 0, +1, and -1, right? So, but if you win based on scissor, you will get 3 points. If you win using rock, you will get 2 points. If you win using paper, you get 1 point. And if you lose or draw, you get 0 point. Can you create a K matrix? The same like a while ago. So what's the point of this practice is, yes, you have, yeah, okay. Hmm. Okay. So the point of this practice is actually, look at this. Even though you understood rock, scissors, paper, all the rules, okay, when you want, you can modify the rule. Okay. In fact, maybe next week we can discuss how to control in the game. Yeah. So this is the now become non-zero sum game. Yeah. When you modify the rule, it's no longer zero sum. Okay. One more practice. Okay. Say, can you make the K matrix for this one? This is easy. Frank is an old man. He cannot remember if today is his wife's birthday or not. So he goes home late. Everything is closed except for the florist. If it is not her birthday, he will bring no gift. It is okay, right? So if it is not her birthday. If it is not her birthday and he bring gift, flower, she might get confused but happy, so +1. If it is her birthday and he bring no gift, she may get upset, so -10. Okay. If it is her birthday and he bring only flower, okay, she might be happier, so +1.5. Can anyone create the K matrix for this? So is this zero sum game or non-zero sum game? Did you create the K matrix for this one?
So can I share the screen?
Oh, sure. Go.
Can you see my screen also?
Yes. Okay.
Just consider this matrix, sir.
Mm-hmm.
If this is correct. Um,
Yeah.
empty hand, and
Yes.
buy gift or flower, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or chocolate. Okay, for that birthday, empty hand, zero, sir. Then, if that birthday, that's a gift, you got
Right.
1 + 1, okay?
Yes.
Then, if birthday, but no gift, you will lose 10, -10. Then, if you're going to buy the flower or chocolate or any gift, you got
Mhm.
positive 1.5.
Yes. If it is birthday one.
But if it's birthday, yeah, if it's birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Right. So you got that, right? Thank you. Okay. So can I share the screen? Yeah. This is the answer. Yeah. Yeah. Similar to the arching available. Yeah. So this game matrix was developed by Pure Strategies. Okay. So now, okay, let's compute. Okay. The next slide is about zero-sum games. Okay, based on this matrix that you have. So assuming that you have the game matrix already. Okay. So this lesson is how to develop the game matrix. Now, the next lesson is how to compute based on the game matrix that you have. Okay. So let's start with zero-sum game first. Yeah. So I will use this one. So the solution of the zero-sum games. Yeah. That is also in the slide in model. Can you download that? Okay. So okay, so I want to discuss several terminologies. One is saddle point, okay, and domination, value of the game, yeah, and mixed strategy. Yeah. Later we can also solve it using linear programming and scaling. Okay? These are the topic that we discuss in this slide. So you have this single matrix game because this is zero-sum games. Yeah. So, and question, if you have this game matrix, how Mr. Rowe will select a strategy, how Mr. Column will select a strategy. Yeah. Remember, the assumption is rational choice. Yeah. Both of them will play safe. Okay. So row strategy is always maximin. Okay, so Miss Row will find the minimum in each row. Okay, that means the worst payoff from each choice, and then Miss Row will find the maximum among this minima. Okay, so remember, row maximin gain. Okay, so let's give example. So if we have this game matrix, Miss Row will maximin, that means we minimize first. Okay, so 6 and 5 is minimum is 5. 5 and 4 minimum is 4, right? So you get the minimum for maximin. That means after you minimize, you maximize. Yeah? Between 5 and 4 here, you will maximize. So you put star here for Miss Row. That means Miss Row will select A. How about the column? The column will always minimax cost. Yeah. In zero-sum games, why minimax cost? Because remember, column is negative value. Okay, but we are dealing with positive value. That means the column will find the maximum in its column. That means the worst payoff from its choice. and then we'll find the minimum among the maximum. Yeah. So Mr. Column will minimax the cost. Again, so minimax means you get the argument of the minimum, okay, after you maximize first. Okay. So the same matrix a while ago, what you will do, you maximize in each column. Yeah, so 6 and 5 become 6, 5 and 4 become 5. And then you, after you maximize, what you will do, you minimize. Yeah. So 6 and 5 minimum is 5. Again, you put star here. So that means Mr. Column will select strategy D. Okay. So now the next terminology is called saddle point. Okay. When the maximin is exactly the same as the minimax, that is the starting point. Okay, that is the equilibrium. That's the game solution. Okay, so if you can find this, yeah, if this happen, this is exactly the same, right? This is 5, and this is also a while ago also 5. Yeah, so the game value is exactly 5. So you found the saddle point in this game. Okay, so the value of the game is the value of the saddle point a while ago. Yeah. So what is the meaning of the value of the game here? Yeah. So if you find the saddle point, yeah, that saddle point value is called the value of the game. Okay? That means unless your opponent is playing poorly, on average, you cannot win more than this value of the game. If it is positive value, that means the amount of the row will have to pay, yeah, to the column in order to make the game fair. Yeah, that means column is always paid to the row. Yeah, if it is negative value, the other way around. So the row will pay to the columns. Yeah, if 0, that means if the value of the game is actually 0, that means it is fair game. Okay, so in our example a while ago, yes, we have this 5, 5 and 5. So then the intersection of this is the equilibrium. Yeah, minimax equal to maximin. Is it clear or not? And this is the strategy. Given this game matrix, this is the strategy, the rational choice. Yeah, A or Miss Row, we can predict. Yeah, Miss Row will select A, and Mr. Column will select T. Nice. Okay. Given the game matrix that you create on your own, okay, then you know how to get the saddle point. It is the equilibrium. Okay. Not always exists, yeah. Remember, equilibrium not always exists, and if it is exists, not always just one, not unique. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. Okay. So let's summarize this, yeah. So how to find the saddle point? Okay. So first, you examine the game matrix from your point of view. So remember, you become the row. Okay? Your opponent become the column. Okay. And then what you will do, you list the minimum in each row, and then you just put star among the greatest of these. And then you list the maximum in each column. Okay. And then you mark the star for the list of these. And then you check, yeah, if the two marks a star a while ago intersect in one cell and it has the same value, okay, then you have saddle point. Okay, that means saddle point exists. So if exists, then that value of the cell become the value of the game. Okay, you see? So let's practice, yeah, so that you can get. So what is the saddle point? What is the value of the game here in this example? You can put it here. You can draw in this slide. Come on. Yes. You can throw in this slide if you want. Yeah. So you minimize this, right? 4 and 2, what you will do? 4 and 2. Yes, become 2 here, right? And then 3 and minus 5, what you will do? Minimize, so become minus 5. Okay. And in the column, what you will do? You maximize, yeah? So this one become 4, become 2. Okay. So among this, okay, after you minimize, you get maximum. So this is the star. Okay. Among this maximum, you minimize. So this is the star. So then you see, okay, going here. So this is the equilibrium. Yeah, the central point. So correct 2. You see, yeah. So minimax, maximum. Okay. So this is the answer. Okay. And you get the value of the gain. Okay. Now, let's make it harder. How about this one? How about this one? The question is simple. Can you find saddle point of this game? You minimize, what you will get? Minus 7. Yeah. You minimize, you get minus 5. And here you maximize, you get 1. You maximize, you get 10. Oh. Okay. So what is the this one minimum? So you get maximum of that. This one is the star, right? This one you maximize, you minimize. So they are not the same. Right? So there is no central point in this game. What to do? Okay, later. Okay, we will do it using mixed strategy. Yeah, you will find the probability of this later. So this game does not have simple central point. So if the game does not have central point, okay, then you can use other method. Okay, so what is the other method that we can do? Okay, one of them is called domination strategy. Okay, so a dominant strategy, okay, is a strategy that gives you higher payoff than all of your other strategies, regardless what your opponent does. Okay, so if one strategy, the alternative that you have, the strategy is the alternative, right? If one strategy is actually superior to another for all the cells, either in the row or in the columns, then that superior strategy is called dominant. Yeah, because we are doing zero-sum games, so in this case, a row will maximize the value. Yeah, so you will find larger row values. But if you play as column, you will minimize the values. You will find the smaller column values. Okay. Now, if domination exists, the game will reduce to show only row or columns. Okay. So this is another technique. Okay. So let's see example so that you can start to see. Look at its row here. 4 compared to 3, which one is bigger? 4. 2 compared to minus 5, which one is bigger? 2. So this one you can remove, right? Because it is dominated. Yeah. So 4 and 2, this one A is dominant. Yeah, because always equal or larger. Yeah. So you dominate through domination, that means you remove the one that dominated. Okay, so because row A is superior or dominant to row B, so then you select this. Now, compare these columns. In column, you want to find the minimum. Okay, comparing 4 4 and 2, which one is the minimum? 2. Yeah. So then you remove this one. Okay. So there. So let's put it directly in here. Now I come back here. Compare the columns. Okay. Look at the column. In each column. Okay. 4 and 2. Which one is smaller? 2 is smaller than 4. Yeah. 3 and -5. Which one is smaller? -5. Oh, in that case, this is dominated. So you remove this one. Okay. So finally, this is what happened. You will get, this is the equilibrium. Is it clear or not? The technique is just removing the one that dominated, if exists, of course. Any question? Yeah, domination not always exists also. Yeah, but if exists, this is a nice strategy, a nice technique to remove. Okay, so I'll give you example. Yes.
Sir, sorry, I didn't get the second
The second part.
table. The second part. How is I don't know.
This one. This one.
AC, the next slide, sir.
This one.
Yes. How is 4 that intersects, that's an intersection of AC,
Okay. Okay.
less dominant than the intersection of AD?
Okay. Let's do it this way. First, I want you to remember the rule of domination. Okay. Here is the rule. If you first you play as row or as columns or one of them. Okay. So if you play as row, you maximize the values. If you play as column, you minimize the values. Is that okay? Okay, now let's go to these examples. Okay, so say you play as row. Okay, between A and B, this is your choice, right? Then you say 4 and 3. Which one is bigger? 4. Okay, between 2 and 5, -5. Which one is bigger? 2. That means this is dominated, correct? Okay, so I remove. Okay, now you play as column. Remember, column minimize. Yeah, this one I already removed, so this one become this table. Okay, now you play as column now. Between 4 and 2, which one is minimized, not maximum? Okay, so then you remove this one. Okay, then this is the result. Is it clear? Yeah, row maximize, column minimize. This is in zero-sum games. Why column is minimizing? Because the actual number of column is the negative of this value, right? Okay. So this is an example. This is actually happened during World War II. Okay, in South Pacific in 1943. Yeah, between Japan and US at the time. Yeah? General Imamura has ordered to transport Japanese troops across this Bismarck Sea here. Okay, so to New Guinea. Yeah, so General Kenny from the US want to bomb the troop transport. Yeah, and Imamura must choose between the shorter northern route or longer southern route. Yeah, but Kenny must decide where to send his plane to look for the Japanese. Okay, now if Kenny send his plane in the wrong route, yeah, of course he can recall. Yeah, but the number of days of farming is reduced. Okay, so and this is what actually happened. Yeah, based on game theory, this is what actually happened at that time. Okay, so we put it into game theory. Yeah, so can we have two possible action? Yeah, go to the north or go to the south. Imamura also the same. Yeah. Remember, this is World War II. Yeah, the plane is very slow at that time compared to today. Okay, so if you look at the value here, this is actually zero-sum games. Can you see? Yeah, because the sum in each cell is zero. Yeah, the sum in each cell is actually zero. Yeah, so can you find the solution of this game? Okay, so actually we can solve this using domination. Okay, so how to find domination? So you compare. Okay, say you play as Kenny. Okay, so row, right? So which one you will select? 2 and 1. Okay, 2 is bigger, so you go to the north, but 2 and 3 is not dominated. Yeah, because this is actually bigger. Yeah, south is bigger than north. So for Kenny, it has no domination. Okay, now let's play as Imamura. Okay, so you go to the second numbers here. But because you are in non-zero sum games, okay, you maximize, yeah, not minimize. Okay. So then you compare this one and this one, oh, the same. This one and this one, oh, this is dominated. Yeah. This is dominated. So you can delete this. Yeah, Imamura can delete this one. So then now you play again as Kenny. Yeah, between 2 and 1, which one you want to do? This one, yeah, the north, yeah, 2 and 1 bigger. So then this one is removed. Yeah, so this is the final answer. Yeah, north. Okay, so this is the equilibrium. Is it clear or not? Yes, yeah, not correct. Yeah. Domination strategy. Yes. Domination strategy. If you have if your game matrix is very big, okay, you can maybe not find the solution, but you will reduce the game matrix. Yeah, make it simpler. Okay, this is example. What is this? This is the cat and mouse game a while ago. Yeah. So then you will select which strategy is actually dominant. Yeah. Say strategy 5 here. Can you compare 5 to 1? This is the same, and this is dominate. This one is 5 is bigger. This is the same. This is dominate. This one is dominate. This is dominate. This is the same. So in this case, I can remove 1, right? Because 5 is bigger than 1, so I can remove 1. Okay. The same thing, you can remove 2 and 3 and 6, yeah, compared to 5. And now if you compare 4 and 8 here, okay, same thing, yeah. Strategy 4 actually dominate number 8. Okay. So in that case, you can the domination. Yeah, you can reduce the matrix. Okay. So up to here. And then later on, you can also, based on column domination, you can also reduce the matrix greatly also. So eventually you will get 2 by 3 matrix. Up to here, is there any question? Okay. So if the game have no central point, how are we going to find solution? That's called mixed strategy. So we will discuss this next week. So in that case, the assignment I will postpone 1 more week. Some from next week. And those who did not present today yet, so please make appointment with me, and then you present at separate time, not from in the classroom. Is that okay? So I think up to here. So please study more detail the rest of this slide, and then the non-zero sum game for next week.
Sir, question, do you have a calendar, Google Calendar link for your availability so that we can schedule, or we just email you? Do you have a...
You can, I'm available on Monday, Tuesday, okay, and Thursday.
Fine.
Okay.
And
Wednesday.
the time, sir?
The time is up to you. That's okay, from morning until evening.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Wednesday and Friday, I'm not okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good. So see you next week.
Thank you, Doc Hardy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.